All right, guys, welcome back to another interview on Unhinged. I am joined by Amber and Leibrock. An absolute pleasure, by the way. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. An absolute pleasure to have you on after such a fantastic performance. As you can see right behind me, look at that head kick. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. As you said in that
all,
post-fight interview.
all I could see is my leg behind your head. It's a long leg.
There it is.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
cool.
phenomenal.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was an experience, that's for sure. It was one hell of a way to make my PFL debut. So, yeah.
Absolutely, it was an outstanding way. I'd love to talk about that as well, but before we get to that, I want to talk about previously. Before that, you're on a 4-fight winning streak currently right now, but I want
Yeah.
to talk about when you was on that 3-fight losing streak, and then that mentality switch, or did anything that kind of switch in your camp, anything switch in your game, in your head, mentally to go on that 4-fight winning streak? Did you change anything, in your game that ultimately
Yes.
needed to that point?
Yeah. I kind of just changed well, I didn't change camps or anything like that, but I did kind of change everything. I changed my approach to training. A lot of people, you see people are like, oh, my fifth session of the day, or been here all day. But it's like, were you really there? Are you mentally checked in? Are you just there physically? Are you really giving 100% on the mats? Like, are you putting yourself in bad positions? Are you doing all the things it takes to be the best in the world? So I really took a different approach to training. I started going with boys. So I started training with guys. I started training with people that put me in bad positions, that weren't scared of me, that were ready to bring it to me on the mats. I started putting myself in positions where I was losing on the mats, where I used to have a mentality is like, every day I gotta win. And it's not about winning when you're training, it's about learning. And then I also added, so I started working with sports psychologists, but then I really started working with a hypnotherapist. His name is Richard Hart. He's from the UK. And he kind of just like switched my mentality. I really got into like visualizing my fights, seeing things before they happen, and just really believing in myself. Where there were moments in Bellator where the lights were too bright, everything was too big, and I couldn't even say the words I'm the best in the world. Where now, like, I can tell you and I can say the words I'm the best 145 pounder in the world, and I'm just ready to prove it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Big up Richard. The people from the UK, they're great at speaking.
Yes, they are. And like, he's really helped me like switch on mentally, like check in mentally, where like when I was in Bellator and stuff like that, I was even having a hard time thinking about my fights or visualizing them because it was just too overwhelming. It was too much. And now it's like everything just feels right. And it feels like everything has happened for a reason and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
And then I want you to talk to me about, that 3-fight skid, how you felt on that run. I know it's like, obviously, you'll be down in the dumps and stuff, but I just want to know more about how does it feel to yourself, to overcome that. And now look at you, you're striving. You just completed one of the best performances of your career, I would
Yeah,
say.
it was hard. It was really hard. I was feeling really bad about myself. I was having a lot of self-worth issues, self-love issues. I was, and then COVID happened right after all the losses. So it was like I just felt like everything was getting taken away from me. I was really disappointed in myself because I wasn't giving it everything I knew I had inside. And now it's just a complete 180. I believe in myself more than ever. I'm super proud of myself, which was something that was hard for me to do, is like be actually like proud of myself and not need outside sources to tell me like, oh, you're doing great. I'm so proud of you. Like being able to find that within yourself. And it's a very invigorating feeling, and it's a very confidence booster. I feel very good on my own 2 feet and I feel great in there. I felt great on my last performance when I fought Morgan. I felt really good when I fought Matrina. Like, you can ask my coaches in my corners. In the back, I was calm, cool, collective. I was relaxed. I was happy to be there all fight week. And yeah, it's just been a complete 180 from the skid to now the streak that I'm on.
Absolutely. And what's the difference between you now and obviously you then? And how would you beat yourself then?
I just think it's the belief. It's really the self belief and really having confidence in my preparation. Like I do everything there. I do more than I'm even asked sometimes, you know, like I don't need anybody to tell me, except on my really like days like last night. I was so tired. All I wanted to do was go home. And I walked up to my coach. I'm like, Coach, just tell me to go do some cardio. He's like, you need to go do cardio, go do 30 minutes, you know? So, but other than that, like, you know, just being super accountable with yourself as an athlete. And I think that I beat myself now or back then, because before it was me versus my opponent mentally, and now it's me versus my opponent mentally. So it's a completely different game for sure.
I want to talk about some good stuff. I want to talk about what happened in your last fight. Spectacular. I think one of the most impressive, spectacular performances I've seen in a PFL
Yeah.
debut. Honestly, it was shocking. It was amazing. Everything I saw about it, it was just the connection, the head cam video, everything about that knockout was just perfect. It was unbelievable. But I want to know your thoughts. How does that feel? How does that moment feel when you get that highlight reel knockout on such a big stage?
First of all, you know, all big ups to Martina, because she's an amazing opponent. Like,
Yeah.
you know, she was a dangerous opponent. I do feel like I was underestimated, which is something that plays to my favor usually, because when you underestimate me, it just gives me, you know, more. When people think I'm an underdog, it just gives me more reason to prove them wrong. It was an amazing moment, and I don't know, it was just, even when because she connected with some good shots, I was kind of having a hard time finding my range with my hands. And even in those moments, I was like, I got this, like, this is my fight. And, you know, I could hear my corner perfectly. He called for the left kick. He called for me to kill the right hand. And then I did it once, and she obviously felt it, because when I went for it again, she dropped her hand, and it was just a perfectly timed technical left kick, you know. And it was a great moment, and I don't think anybody expected it. And that for me was the best part, is because everybody is counting me out in this tournament. Everyone counted me out in that fight. Everyone's counting me out in this next fight with Larissa. And it's just like, don't do that. Don't do that, because I'm a worthy opponent. I've been here for a long time. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. I'm no slouch. I am a vet in the game. I've been in the cage with some of the best in the world: Arlene Blencow, Megan Anderson, like, run down the list from the beginning of my career. I've never taken easy fights. And I just don't think that, you know, it's smart for people to underestimate me.
Yeah, the debut, it was perfect. It couldn't have gone any better for yourself. I just want to quickly ask you: was that the greatest moment of your career thus far? I know there's still plenty moments to come that you might say.
I mean, so far, yeah, that was like one of the highlights of my career. Obviously, it got a lot of love on ESPN, which was crazy, on Sports Center, which was crazy. But as of right now, yeah, that's probably one of my top moments in my career for sure. Yeah, you know, it's a crazy feeling going from the last seed, because I was at the bottom of the pickings, to the first seed of the tournament. So yeah, it definitely is the highlight of my career so far.
Some of the biggest underdogs have been counted out and they've gone to the top of the world. I mean, look at Brandon Moreno, look at Julian Pena. You know, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
I've actually seen that you uploaded the Brandon Moreno video. So inspiration. You know, some of the biggest underdogs do get overlooked, and we've seen it happen in MMA.
Yeah. And I think people don't understand too, like, my whys are huge. You know, I don't come from a lot of money. I come from like hard upbringings. I've got 3 brothers. And so my whys are always like at the forefront of my head. And I don't do this to be famous. I don't do this to be popular. I don't do this to get 100 million followers on Instagram. I'm doing this to change my life. Like, literally, that money at the end of this tournament is going to change my life, change my brother's lives, and it will make me emotional, because this all just means so much to me, and it's way bigger than, you know, popularity or being seen or things like that. You know, I'm doing this for some real reasons that mean a lot to me from my soul. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and absolutely. Let's talk about the next step in your career. Arguably, you know, one of the biggest tests. I know you said you've been here, you've been around for a long time. You fought in Bellator, you had 3 fights in Bellator, you fought Megan Anderson. You talked about it, but I feel like this next one, this one's pivotal, because of you fighting Larissa Pacheco, you know, a PFL lightweight champion, defending champion. talk to me about this moment. What does this one kind of feel like heading into this one? It's a big deal, but I feel like nonetheless, you've been here, as you talked about, you've been here around for a long time. So you've made it for this. You had them setbacks, but ultimately that's experience ready for this
Yeah.
moment again.
It's crazy to me because you can ask anybody. I love Larissa Pacheco. I'm a
It's
huge
cool.
fan of Larissa Pacheco. I think that, I've seen her fight week. She's super nice. She's super sweet. All her camp is like super nice and stuff. So I'm really excited. I have nothing but respect for her. I completely know how dangerous she is. And I'm so excited for this matchup. I'm so excited to go out there and prove myself against somebody who's literally the best in the world at what she does. And I want that. I want that title. I want that spot. And I'm going out there to just give a performance. Like, I want to perform to the best of my abilities. And I know if I do that, then like I'll leave the cage with my hand raised. And yeah, it's like when you step in the cage with somebody, it's not just a fight. Like you share energy with that person. Like, how important it is to both of you guys. So I think she's perfect to do this with. And I'm so excited for her to be my next opponent.
Then obviously, how do you stop the momentum of Larissa? I know she likes to walk forward, she likes to throw them hands, but I feel like this, she likes to get inside them exchanges, and I feel like this is a good matchup for yourself because as we see, you're very tall, you're very lengthy, you're very long, you're very rangy, but this
Yeah.
is a fantastic matchup, and I feel like them sort of tools and attributes could pose some trouble for Larissa,
Yeah.
but.
I mean, we've got a great game plan. I come from a great camp, it's a very high fight IQ. I am tall, I'm super, super long. And I think that is going to be something that, is hard to deal with. It's hard to deal with for a lot of people. And, I'm not just long in the hands, I'm longer in the legs. And brings a completely different weapon to it. I am smart at what I do. I won't be like everybody else and just trying to bum rush at her forward and get myself knocked out, because obviously we've seen her sleep people that way. And yeah, I'm gonna go in there smart, I'm gonna go in there intelligent, I'm gonna go in there ready with my game plan. And I'm planning on a 3-round war. I'm planning on a really, really long, hard, like the hardest fight of my life, and I'm ready for it mentally and physically.
Yeah, and obviously Larissa, as I talked about, she's experienced as well. Been inside the UFC, been in the PFL for a long time. She obviously won the PFL. And I talked about your range, and obviously do you see that being, obviously we talked about there's going to be a problem, but I want to ask you, with her coming in looking to exchange, do you see that being a problem for her for herself? Because I feel like as she comes in, that's a perfect opportunity for you just to catch her, because she might think she's in range but she might be out of range, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's smarter than that. I think that she's going to come with a great game plan as well. I think that she'll be prepared for my range as well. Obviously, my legs are dangerous, and I think that brings a new awareness to people, something that a lot of people haven't got a taste of in PFL, especially with the women at the bigger weight class. They kind of just want to sit down and bang with her, and it's not going to be that kind of fight. Like, I'm willing to exchange and be in that pocket, but at the same time, like, I have certain gifts and attributes just like she does, and I'm willing and I'm able to use them to the best of my ability.
And I talked about with your growing confidence inside, recently 4-fight winning streak off the back of one of the greatest KOs in PFL debuts, off the back of your best KO in your career thus far. Does that just elevate your game even more? Because you're heading into this fight, probably your confidence is probably the most confident that you've ever been in your life. Does that feel good? And are we going to see the best version basically of yourself?
Absolutely. You'll see the best version of myself in there. And like, my confidence comes with preparation. It's not just false bravado. Like, I'm coming in there really prepared mentally and physically for this. I've been training my ass off, and I train with the best people in the world, and not just striking. Like, I know she can grapple. I know that if my range becomes a problem for her, she will come in and she will try to take me to the ground. And my grappling coaches are amazing. I train with Gilbert Melendez over at El Nino. I train with Adam Piccolotti, whose game is a body lock game. So like, I will be prepared. I will be prepared for it. I have an amazing weight cut. cut. You know, I don't kill myself on that end. I'm a natural 45er. I've never been heavier. I've never been lower. This is my weight class, and I'm ready to prove that. And I want to prove to PFL that it wasn't a fluke signing me. And, you know, for seasons to come, like, I do believe that I could be a new face of PFL at 145 pounds. This is my division, and I'm ready for that.
Defeating Larissa, it's a monumental achievement. It's, you know, it's phenomenal. You know, if you look at the back of she's got, she beat Kayla Harrison. So if you beat Larissa, you kind of add her. Well, you don't really add her name, but you kind of add her momentum. You add all that hype to you. You know, transfers to you. So
No,
what would it mean?
no, that's all hers. You know, all of her accomplishments are her accomplishments. You know, whatever happens with me and Larissa on June 16th will just be between me and Larissa. It takes away from nothing. I don't beat Kayla Harrison. I don't take those accolades. Those are all Larissa's. And what me and her are going to do on June 16th just starts a new chapter for me that will be mine. And as long as I just go in there and perform, you know, win, losses, it's whatever. I've lost, I've won, I've been at the top so far, I've been at the bottom. For me, it's all about performing. I just want to perform to the best of my abilities and not just win. I want to give people a show. I want people to know that the featherweight division is alive. We're athletic, we're fast, we're fierce, we're something to watch. And as us as the co-main event, like, it's a dance, and we're perfect dance partners for each other. And we're going to show the world that women can do this just as good as men, if not better. And the featherweights, you know, the featherweight is not a very popular division, and we're going to change that on June 16th.
Yeah, what I meant was that you would kind of steal that momentum of that she's riding heading into this fight, if that makes sense, because that she's off some really good momentum, some really good confidence. So you would kind of steal that, and obviously that would elevate you even more.
Yeah, sure. You know, like, that will be a big, like, I did that, you know, like, if I can beat Larissa on June 16th, all those girls in that tournament will know I can beat them, you know. And even better, like, whatever happens, like, let's say a stoppage happens, if everyone watching, because this isn't the last fight, you know, so everyone watching will know, like, oh shit, like, I need to watch out for her. I'm the dark horse of this tournament. People don't know much about me, and even with my great performance, there's not a lot of tape, and all the tape on me is old tape. So it's going to be hard to prepare for what I bring, because people don't actually know this new version of Amber as a fighter. They don't know who I am. Everything is old. That's old Amber. That's old mentality. And even after I was in there for 2.5 minutes. There's not a lot to watch, you know? So yeah, I think I do steal some momentum. I think I start my own momentum even more in PFL, and I really start to make a name for myself.
Yeah, that was my last question about the fight. But I want to move on. Other than MMA, you've got some loves, and that's tattoos. I want to talk about the tattoos. What's your favorite tattoo?
Right now, it's got to be my neck piece that goes into my shoulder. Sorry, it's cold here in Cali, so I got my sweater on. But it's got to be my neck piece that I get done by OC. His tag is OC Made It, and he has a shop called Rich and Flesh. And yeah, this one is by far my favorite tattoo, because it is representing of the warrior, because it's a female Viking. And then it's going to end up being like all Nordic mythology, like down my arm, you know. And it really does represent like who I am inside, of like a warrior and never giving up. This tattoo right here on my face is also one of my favorites, because it's the year that my father passed away. So it is just a remembrance. And Miguel Suazo did this one for me, and it's just a remembrance of my father, and I get to see it every day, and, you know, remember him, and, you know, he lives on my face. So yeah.
I know you've probably got a few lined up. This is my last question. I know you've probably got a few more lined up. Tattoos. What is on the horizon? What are the feeling? What ones you get next?
So we're going to finish the arm, and I'm going to add Thor's hammer to the back of the arm, and then I'm going to do the Nordic compass, so you know, the Viking compass, and then we're going to do the tree of life down the arm. So pretty much this will be the next step. And then I want to add my pit bull on the shin of my leg, and then those are pretty much as far as I've got for what I want next. And then, you know, they kind of just develop as time goes on.
Amber, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it. It's
Appreciate
going to be a really good fight. You versus Larissa. It's phenomenal. It's got all the makings for a performance of the night bonus.
Fight of the night. Fight of the night.
That's
Like
it.
me and Larissa, fight of the night. And I know we both respect each other. Like there's no bad blood whatsoever. And I do honestly believe we steal the show. Me and Larissa.
Absolutely.
So everybody watch out.
Styles make fights, and this is a fantastic Styles. We're going to see a fantastic fight. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Amber.
For sure.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.